こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材はリバプールの遠藤航に関する動画です。リバプールはプレミアリーグ第29節の前倒し開催で、アストンビラと対戦し、2対2で引き分けに終わりました。幸先よく先制したように見えましたが、あっという間に逆転され、後半60分にアレクサンダー・アーノルドのゴールで追いついたものの、遠藤航の出番もなく、試合はそのまま引き分けで終わりました。先制して逆転し追いつかれるという試合展開や、交代で入ったブラッドリーの怪我などもあり、選手の交代も難しかったのかとも想像しますが、勝てなかった結果からも、ビッグチャンスだった決定機を逃したことからも、リバプールファンもフラストレーションがかなり溜まった試合だったようです。それもあって、スロットの采配、特に選手交代については、この試合では評価が悪く、その流れで遠藤航も出すべきだったという論調が強くなっています。今回はおなじみのリバプールファンチャンネルであるアンフィールドアジェンダ、リバプール専門のジャーナリストであるデビッド・リンチ、マンチェスターユナイテッドファンチャンネルであるアリスフットボールのチャンネルから、特に遠藤航、ハービー・エリオット、キエーザの出場機会が少ないことを問題提起している部分を切り取っています。選手のクオリティが低いからなのか、スロットが信頼していないからなのか、どちらもなのか。いずれにしてもグラフェンバークは休ませる必要はあるという意見で一致しています。実際にそれぞれどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
I'd like to know why Slot took Trent off after scoring. It made no sense. Well, look, I'll be really honest about this one as well. I thought Trent was having a shocking game. I thought it's inexcusable that he gives the ball away and jogs back. And doesn't, even then when he gets close to the ball, doesn't start sprinting. Just jogs back. So yes, he got us a goal, and it was a very important goal in the sense of the game. But he wasn't great either. And then, to rub salt in the wounds, Bradley looks like he's probably picked up a knock as well. So we've got players who are out on their feet, like Ryan Gravenberch, who, again, could have been rotated for Darwin, or for Endo, if the manager felt like it. It's just, we're making it so hard when it doesn't have to be. And you can't have it both ways as a fan. You can't tell people like me and others who want extra signings that we're wrong and we're top of the league when you see stuff like that happen. And you can see Gravenberch is absolutely exhausted. Szoboszlai played his heart out and worked his ass off today. If it wasn't for Mohamed Salah's goals, I don't know where we'd be. But of course, our owners are so stingy they won't even give him a deal. And we as fans are supposed to believe that everything's great and nobody's nervy and nobody's frustrated and nobody behind the scenes is annoyed at it. Come on. Just keep giving encouragement to Arsenal. We need another gear to switch to. Maybe go full Klopp era sometimes. Endo in the 6, attack heavy. Arne should trust Chiesa and Harvey too. Yep. It's very fair. He doesn't trust Elliott. It's clear as day. Doesn't trust Endo. Clear as day. Doesn't trust Chiesa. Clear as day. 3 spots wasted on the bench. And you and I don't pick the team. You know, us as fans can't decide whether somebody stays or goes at the club. But you can't keep coming out and telling the media and telling the fans that everything's fucking great and everyone's brilliant and there's no dramas behind the scenes at the club and everyone is loved and adored by the manager, when we can see very, very clearly that there are players he doesn't rate. And rightly or wrongly, he's making these decisions. And we're wasting space on the bench. It's nearly laughable that we're being told everyone's loved, trusted and brilliant, but yet Chiesa, not 5 minutes? Nothing to change it. Elliott, nothing, just sit on the bench there, lads, and get splinters in your arse. Carbon said, Craig, I don't know if you remember me saying we have to get through January and February to win the league. We have a lot of work to do in the summer. Our bench needs a lot of work. I have a recollection of the point that you've made. And look, I think we're all so emotional because of fear of a repeat. Am I right in saying that? You know, we're emotional here because it's like we're being traumatized again with the same wobble at the same point. And we're not helping ourselves. We're not making the best decisions. And I can't understand how Arne can't lean on the likes of Endo to give him 20 in there, or why you leave it so late to bring Diaz off. And the substitutions didn't add to us in any way today. You know, and in the past we've made changes and they've won us games. Today the substitutions I didn't feel really gave us any impetus, other than probably gave more encouragement to Villa as they emptied their bench there as well. You know, at the end they were the one with the outside of the post. Diogo was unlucky with a strike in the second half to hit the crossbar as well. But yeah, man, it's frustrating.
Play out, and I'm just going to finish up really by talking about one of the individual performances again. I'm talking about a little bit of a concern around this. Really, is that the performance of Ryan Gravenberch for me was a little bit of a worry. I think some of the talk about him being leggy recently has been overplayed, but I think very much in this game you saw a little bit of that. He makes 0 tackles in the game, wins 1 out of 7 ground duels, completes 0 out of 2 dribble attempts, and he just looked tired. It looked like he had a lot of ground to cover and he couldn't get there. He looked leggy in a way that we haven't really seen too much of this season, and just a little bit concerned that his workload is much bigger than he's ever been used to in a single season, and that is starting to really tell. And you know, at the end of the day, he needs to find that form back somehow, or the manager needs to make the brave decision to drop him and maybe bring in a Wataru Endo for a game if necessary, because I just don't think you can keep playing Gravenberch and hope that he's going to come back into form, because my little worry is that these minutes are now starting to add up and he's really starting to feel the pace. So hopefully some change there, whether that is Gravenberch showing better form or Endo coming in, but something I think needs to happen there, because I think that was his poorest performance of the season arguably, and he's been so important for Liverpool, and they need him in this latter part of the season to help them get over the line in the Premier League and to go and have a crack at the Champions League. So hopefully they can get him back to his best as soon.
I'm going to say one thing. Arne Slot's not been backed. Mamardashvili and Chiesa. He clearly didn't want Chiesa, and Mamardashvili's a long-term thing. Liverpool were top of the league, and I understand Liverpool not signing a player if they don't think the right player's available. I get that. But Liverpool have this, you've got Conor Bradley, you've got, Kwanzaa, you've got Harvey Elliott, you've got Chiesa, you've got Nunes, you've got Jota on your bench. But he clearly doesn't trust a lot of his players. He trusts Curtis Jones that's sometimes on the bench. He trusts Jota that's sometimes on the bench. I think his best front three he sees is Gakpo, Diaz, Salah. Nunes, I don't know if he trusts him. Chiesa clearly doesn't rate. Harvey Elliott doesn't rate that much, clearly. Endo, he clearly doesn't trust. Like Endo, Harvey Elliott, maybe Liverpool's depth isn't as good as we first thought. Because why isn't Chiesa getting minutes? Why is, Endo and Harvey Elliott barely getting minutes? You have to look at that and say, actually, other than Conor Bradley and Curtis Jones and Jota, there's not many players that come off the bench for Liverpool. And Curtis Jones starts a lot of games. So let's go back into the game. I'm going to give you my general thoughts on Liverpool. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the game because I want to talk about Salah, because Salah was unbelievable today, not just because of the goals and assists, but Salah's all-round performance was incredible today. So I do want to talk about Mohamed Salah. I also want to touch upon Trent and Nunes and a couple of things, but I want to talk about my thoughts on the performance. I want to talk about my thoughts on Liverpool and what's going on right now. Salah, Van Dijk and Gravenberch. Gravenberch, who's now exhausted. And I just think Endo's a good player. This is my biggest question marks of Slot as a Man United fan looking in. Endo's a good player. And he's had good cameos. Just take Gravenberch off with 20 minutes to go and give Endo that. That's what I just think. Chiesa and Endo have shown enough for me to think that Slot should give them more. And Harvey Elliott, we've seen what he can do in the past. Performances I've seen. But let me tell you my general thoughts. Slot not backed. He does not trust Endo, and I think Endo deserves more trust. I like Endo. Gravenberch's been amazing but exhausted. Chiesa clearly isn't a Slot signing because he's fully fit by now. I'm not sure what the excuses are. He's looking like a Donny van de Beek type situation. Depth not as good as it could be because Slot clearly doesn't trust a lot of the players on the bench. So I think are decent players, but I don't think he trusts Kwanzaa. I don't think he trusts Harvey Elliott. I don't think he trusts, Nunes, to be honest. Definitely doesn't trust Chiesa. And therefore, players that you think, that makes good squad depth. But actually, if the manager doesn't trust them and isn't going to give them the minutes, what's the point? Nunes is just not good enough in the big moments. And probably not good enough for Liverpool. Yeah, I think just you look at the quality of forwards in the Premier League, and I think Nunes has had good moments and he works hard. And he's a confidence player, but he's not been good enough for Liverpool. They have to move him on in the summer. Trent was jogging. I think his head's in Madrid, to be honest with Trent. I don't think he's been at his very best lately. Liverpool need a striker. They need a long-term Nunes replacement. They need a left centre back because they never replaced Matip, and just someone because I think Kwanzaa will go on loan. I think he doesn't. Konate has injury issues, and I think he'll want someone to rotate in there. They need a left centre back. DM backup that he trusts for Gravenberch because Gravenberch's exhausted, and left back to replace Robbo, and probably another right back with Trent going. Arsenal have 0 strikers, so Liverpool should win the league from here. But look, they look fatigued. The performances aren't convincing. It gives Arsenal that hope.
次は解説です。今回は短いパートを切り取っており、それぞれそこまで深い話をしているわけではないので、表現も簡単なものが多かったと思います。簡単なボキャブラリーが多く、今日は少し少なめですが、本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。And then, to rub salt in the wounds.
ラブソルトインザウンズは文字通り傷口に塩を塗るという意味の慣用句で、すでに悪い状況にある人をさらに傷つけたり、状況を悪化させたりするときに使います。ネイティブスピーカーも日常会話やビジネスシーンでよく使う表現で、特に感情がこもった会話やニュース記事などで頻繁に登場します。
And then to rub salt in the wounds. Soboslai played his heart out and worked his ass off today.
プレイワンズハートアウトは全力でプレイする。持てる力のすべてを出し切るという意味の表現で。ここでのハートは心、情熱という意味で、心のすべてを外に出す。つまり自分の持つエネルギーや感情をすべて注ぎ込むというニュアンスがあり、限界まで力を振り絞って頑張る。情熱を込めて取り組むというイメージで使われます。特にスポーツや音楽などの場面でよく使われ、試合やパフォーマンスで選手やアーティストが全力を尽くしている時にぴったりの表現です。
Soboslai played his heart out and worked his ass off today. But of course, our owners are so stingy.
スティンジーはケチな、出し惜しみするという意味の形容詞で、お金や物を使うのを極端に嫌がる人に対して使われることが多く、必要なものを十分に与えない、節約しすぎるというニュアンスがあります。この単語は、セルフィッシュやグリーディーとは少し異なり、主にお金やリソースを使いたがらない、出し惜しみすることを指します。ややネガティブな言葉なので、フォーマルな場面では注意が必要です。
But of course, our owners are so stingy. He doesn't trust Elliot. It's clear as day.
クリアーズデーは非常に明白な、誰が見てもはっきりしているという意味の表現で、このフレーズは直訳すると昼間のように明るくはっきりしているという意味になり、何かが疑う余地なく明らかであることを強調するときに使います。この表現はカジュアルな日常会話だけでなく、ビジネスの場面でも使え、ニュース記事やスピーチなどのフォーマルな場面でも登場することがあります。
He doesn't trust Elliot. It's clear as day. It's against splinters in your arse.
スプリンタースインワンズアースは直訳するとお尻に木の破片が刺さるという意味で、ベンチに長時間座っていて試合に出られないことを皮肉った表現です。特に試合に出ることを期待されている選手が使われていない場合に、ファンや評論家がこのフレーズを使うことがあります。アメリカ英語ではアースより明日の方が一般的に使われますが、イギリス英語ではアースがよく使われます。
It's against splinters in your arse. And with the same wobble at the same point.
ウォブルはぐらつく、よろめく、不安定になるという意味で動詞と名詞で使われます。物理的な動き、揺れる、ぐらぐらするだけでなく、気持ちや状況の不安定さを表すときにも使われます。特にスポーツやビジネスの文脈では、調子を崩す、不安定な状況になるという意味で使われることがよくあります。
And with the same wobble at the same point. I didn't feel really gave us any impetus.
インピタスは推進力、勢い、刺激という意味の名詞で、何かを前進させる力や物事が活発に動き出すきっかけとなる要因を指します。ビジネスや経済、スポーツ、社会の変化を語る際によく使われるフォーマルな単語です。
I didn't feel really gave us any impetus. As they empty their bench there as well.
エンプティ は、誰もが知っている通り、からの、中身がないという意味の形容詞ですが、空にする、空っぽにするという意味の動詞でも使われます。物理的な容器の中に何も入っていない状態だけでなく、感情や意味が欠けているという比喩的な意味でも使われます。このシーンでは、ベンチをエンプティにする、つまり総動員して戦うことを比喩的に表しています。
As they empty their bench there as well. As they empty their bench there as well.
And to go and have a crack at the Champions League. So...
Have a crack at は、試しにやってみる。挑戦するという意味のカジュアルな表現で、何かに挑戦したり、試しにやってみるときに使われ、have a go at と同じような意味で使われます。イギリス英語やオーストラリア英語でよく使われる表現ですが、アメリカ英語でも通じます。
And to go and have a crack at the Champions League. And to go and have a crack at the Champions League. So...
いかがでしたか？遠藤航が出場しないことは驚きではありませんでしたし、リードしている状況でなければ、なおさら出番はないだろうとも思っていましたし、怪我人が出たりもあって、選手交代も難しかっただろうとも同情しますが、実際に決まりきったような選手起用と、その被害者のような形で、遠藤やエリオット、キエーザが特に出番がなく、交代で入ったダーウィン・ヌニスもビッグチャンスを外して笑っているというような状況も相まって、全体的にファンは不満を感じるものだったのだろうとも思います。それでもグラフェンバークが疲れているのは間違いないんでしょうから。たったの1試合でも先発から外すことくらいはできないといけないでしょうし、その時には遠藤航が出てくれることを期待したいと思います。全員が必要で、全員を評価しているようなスロット発言は、ファンから見てもリップサービスだと思われるほどであり、今後も変わらないメンバーで行く可能性の方が高いと思いますが、リーグではまだいっぱいしかしていないのに批判されるのもかわいそうだとも同情しますので、うまくマネージメントしながら、遠藤航ももう少し期待と信頼をして、もう少し使ってもらえたら嬉しいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。